Are you happy now? Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniX TCG, and we're about to talk about this ban list that has dropped today, as well as its ramifications. So real quick, right off the bat, I'm just going to say I'm putting this video at 100 like goal. I know you guys can just crush that. And secondly, if you want to support the brand, I am building my Dragon Ball channel. We've been uploading a lot because of the game's dropping things lately. And then on top of that, once we're monetized, as long as we're monetized and over 1,000 subscribers by October, we are going to be giving away 2 free copies of Sparking Zero on the system of your choice. And then for every 1,000 we get after that, we'll be dropping another Sparking Zero copy. So if you guys want a chance to win and help support this brand, go over to UniXDB in the description and join in. Now, past that, I do want to say that we are looking at a little bit of a weird thing because we've got 3 additions to the ban/owner list, as well as a game mechanic change. And we're going to talk about all that and then the fallout of that. Now, when it comes to the ban list/owner list/errata list, we have 0 erratas, we have 0 semi-limits, we have Kefla going down to 1, we have Roshi from set 1 ban and Ribrianne from set 2 ban. And part of me is happy because the Ribrianne and the Roshi hit are things that I very much so wanted to happen. The Kefla hit, I think that's a stray, especially now that the decks cannot hyper awaken and you just weaken red as a whole. But the thing that makes me super kind of sad is that that's all that happened. That's the only thing that happened on this list. And I think that's going to be more of a problem later that will probably hopefully be balanced out by set 3. But like, it's just honestly, I don't like that for the rest of the game in this little pocket format between set 2 and set 3. However, what we're going to talk about now is the kind of ramifications of what's going on with this. So Kefla going down to 1 has severely hurt the top end of red decks. Playing out Kefla and then playing out the TOP card in question allowed you to have either additional draw with Kefla, it allowed you to have some spread, softening of power with Catapesla. It allowed you to have almost borderline removal with 3-drop Gohan. There was a lot of things you could do with this Kefla, and for 4, getting 7 energy worth of cards was just great, especially seeing is that if you hard cast it, it was only a -1 since the Kefla replaces herself. However, now that Kefla is at 1, Top Coup does not have its bread and butter play. It cannot spam the board, it cannot build a board out of the cards in his hand quick enough, and there is not really a reason to have to go down to 3 life to awaken. But even so, past that, Kefla to 1 has weakened all red decks, because if you guys have been testing more than Top Coup, you know that it's Beerus's top end play outside of 5-drop Goku. It is actually the top end for Starter Coup. It's the top end for U7 Coup, and I think Starter Coup is kind of like the worst out of those, but that's just me. But you basically had Kefla as a very, very good card to contend with like all these other top end cards. It's just right where you want to be. Tap 4, play 2 bodies, have them both go sideways. But now because Kefla's gone, red will have to rely on 5 costs to close out the game now, such as Double Strike Goku, and that may just be a little too slow to contend with blue, who likes a longer game, green, who likes a game that can go on long enough for them to get to 8 energy. So we really need to see, because right now I only feel confident like with really one of the of the red decks right now going into this format, and even then I think it could be shaky. More testing needs to be had. Now you move on to the bans, okay? And a lot of people just want to Top Coup on, but let's face it, they weren't going to ban a Goku and one of 4 leaders. I just don't think that was ever an option. So we are looking at the banning of Roshi, and a lot of people hate that. But Roshi is just different. He is simply built different. People are like, oh, well, we have Bulma and Mai, so why does Roshi have to be singled out? Okay, you know darn well why Roshi has to be singled out. Roshi single-handedly caused every deck to run 4 or more slots to just smoking a 1-drop off the board. Roshi, unanswered, could have a player awaken on turn 3 without anything really being played on the board. Roshi was just built different. Bulma has to have a 3-cost in-play turn sideways to actually work. That's not the same. Mai comes down and takes 2 life. That's crazy. You know what else Mai does? Doesn't get played because blue is in a position where it does not want to awaken for as long as possible. Now that may change now that Top Ku is not bursting people down at incredible speeds. So maybe Mai does become a good card again because Goku Black, I think, is going to be on the rise. But we're going to talk about that soon enough. I do think that we're just in a position where you do want to look at Roshi and realize that he is just the one-drop awakener that does more than any other one-drop self-awakener. He can snowball games, and for now, he has to go. Now, moving forward to Ribrianne, this one surprised me because I had this on my pick for my ban list. A lot of people kind of were giving me some pushback on that too. I wanted Ribrianne gone. I did not think that Ribrianne was going to go. So Ribrianne leaving the format means there's no more double striking for one, meaning Glimpse is no longer closing out games. And what that is going to entail is a format where if you were to play Top Ku, you can no longer hyper awaken and you can no longer cheese games out in stage of the game where normally you'd be fighting to survive. Now with the Kefla being limited to one, I don't think Top Ku has much of an option to play. Until we see some sort of like a TOP card later that brings a TOP card back from your trash to your hand, which I'm sure we're going to get eventually. It's only a matter of time. I just don't see Top Ku being played. And that's just kind of the deal with these. I think that without the Kefla, Top Ku would still be playable. It would just be an extreme mid-range deck, no earlier, no later. And right now with Kefla at 1, I think Beerus suffers. I think U7 Goku suffers. But that is where we're going to get into the next part of this video, right after a word from our sponsors. All right, y'all, taking a quick moment to shout out the sponsors for this video. First up is Mystic TCG, a store based in Missouri that sells all sorts of TCG product, even more than what you see featured here on this page. They also buy singles, collections, and prize cards, so make sure you actually catch them out in their store in Missouri at an event, or even on their Facebook, just to be able to see the events here, but also ask them what they're up to and what they're looking for in terms of vending. You can also use the code UNIXTCG to get discounts off your pre-orders as well as orders, so make sure you get your TCG product while it's hot. Then you have Eclipse Cards and Hobby based out of Texas, and if that sounds familiar, they did sponsor me with a box of Fusion World Set 1. But as you can see on this page, there is a plethora of TCG products that they are actually having for sale at their establishment. You can also even buy things that aren't just TCG products. As you can see on the screen right here, they hold their own locals, they hold their own events, and they are going out to more and more events. You can actually check their Facebook to see their schedule, as well as call and ask about their vending list. And at the checkout for their website, you can use the code UNI10X to actually get percentages off your pre-orders or your orders. So go check it out as well. And we're always up to all sorts of things in Universe X, so you can go down the description and check the link tree to find out about my other channels, my Twitch, or any other avenues that I'm creating content on. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can always go down to any description on any video and find my Amazon affiliate links. These products here will differ from video to video to cater to the audience in question, but it's just very easy to see something that you may like or be interested in, open it up and choose the style and or color that'll work for you. All proceeds will give kickbacks to the channel, so it'll be some direct support, and I'll always appreciate the help from you guys. So with that being said, let's get back to the video. So with this being said, we really are in a space where a lot of things are going to shift up. What Red was doing this format was gatekeeping not one, but two different colors. Red and blue both have great matchups into yellow, as the format is right now as of making this video, which means that moving forward, red versus yellow may not have the same grip it did before. You can't make boards to immediately contest a yellow board. A yellow board would fold in half, but by having a 3-drop Gohan be casted from set 1, and then having Kefla into 3-drop SR Gohan be played, you could just clear your opponent's entire board while getting some chip damage in them, and yellow can only reset up so many times. Now, you're not going to be able to do that with Kefla gone and Roshi being banned, or Kefla down to 1. That's just not consistent enough. Yellow is probably going to be able to set up very well against red now, or at least have a competitive start. Versus green, yellow actually had a match that nobody ever got to see because of 3-drop Vegeta being able to cloak the entire board and 6-drop Frieza being able to protect it. So you are now sitting here at this position where it is very hard to guard against these yellow boards as green. Blue still has an excellent matchup against yellow, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think that when it comes to red, red does not have the same death grip it did on yellow. So yellow is no longer gate kept and will probably see play again. And so you guys will need to start having to actually test against it. Now green was already in a place in the format where green didn't have to worry about yellow, but green had to worry about red. And if you guys have played it, I've said it time and time again, green was only ever one turn away from stabilizing. That's all it was. It's all it ever has been in this format. And Beerus would sometimes let green stabilize. Now that Topku is gone and Roshi is banned, green is definitely going to have time to stabilize. Green has an almost auto win matchup versus blue. And then green also has a very, very, very not advantageous matchup going into yellow as long as they're playing for SR Vegeta. So now what you're looking at is, can red still close it out against green? And I think the answer is yes, but I do think that is looking more U7 Goku than Beerus. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. So when you're looking at this, green now has a presence because it has an auto win matchup, a hard matchup, and a 50-50 matchup in the mirror. Blue has a very good matchup into yellow, a should be 50-50 if not slightly advantageous on their end against red, and an auto loss matchup to green in the mirror. Yellow has a very, very almost auto win matchup versus green, a very bad matchup versus versus blue, and a good matchup versus yellow or red. Yeah, I guess, yeah, decent matchup versus red. So every other color right now has uphill battle, a closer to free battle, and a 50-50-ish battle. Then when it comes to red, that's where the testing's gonna have to come in. Red just lost almost essentially all the steam they got from set 2, and now you're looking at the fact that you're gonna have to be playing Beerus for control, which may have a very good matchup versus yellow, and a decent matchup versus an okay matchup versus blue, but not very good chances right now versus green. Then you have U7 Goku, which probably performs better against green. Gotta definitely test that. We have to see its matchup versus red and versus blue and yellow, but it seems like U7 Goku to me might be one of the better ones. People are probably going to rally on Starter Ku, but I'm not sure if Starter Ku can abuse some of the things like One Drop Frieza that will give Red Goku the edge in terms of pushing cards out of people's hands. So, save U7 Goku. So, I think that we're in a position where you definitely have to get your testing in. This is going to open up a lot of the format. I know I'm going to be with my crew, making sure that we get reps in, making sure that we try out decks, making sure that that happens. I'm going to be, as soon as this ban list goes into effect, I'm going to be on the ladder online. We're going to get those streams going again, so I hope you guys are excited for those. But yes, I just think that this is going to open up the format in a lot of ways. And then we have the last item on the docket, which is the game mechanic change. And that change is drawing going first. Before, you only drew if you went second. Now, they are understanding, I guess, that going second has a much higher win rate than going first, and I don't think you can move around the coin. Going first, if you got a coin, you would just literally be ahead of the curve by a lot of things. You'd just be 2 energy up at some points. But going up on the cards takes away the hand disparity, and I think that just the coin being the only advantage of going second in the first attack is fine. I think that's more than fine. Drawing the card and going up to 7 cards, the opening hand, is going to be great for going first. It's going to take the sting out of losing the die roll, and I think that's going to be overall just a good place for the game to be. So there's not actually really much to talk about that. It doesn't change the drastic much of the landscape. It doesn't. It just makes going first more consistent, and I think that Dragon Ball deserves to be a more consistent game than some of its peers, such as One Piece or Digimon. I just think that you want to get rid of those weird points where it's like, oh, I felt comfortable, but I lost the die roll. So, with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would love to hear it. I'm excited to test all these decks. I'm excited to see how the market changes. And if you guys want a more in-depth version of this, look out for my Patreon for the next couple days. We'll be going in. If it doesn't happen before the regionals this weekend, it's going to happen shortly after, but I will get to it. I'm also trying to make sure I lock in a second serial gonna really try to finish strong with this with these 2 back-to-back regionals before Gen Con, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you whether it be here, UniXDB, the social media, just wherever. And yeah, later.